Hi, I'm Beth from Restyled Pieces Boutique. In today's video, I'm going to be working on this Broyhill MCM dresser. A little girl or somebody named Nicole decorated that dresser up all nice and pretty with stickers. So I had to spend a lot of time scraping that off, but I want you to stay tuned to the end and see how I transform this dresser into something beautiful. This dresser really has a lot of stickers. It has a lot of scratches and dings and dents, but for right now, I'm going to get started. I am going to vacuum out all of these drawers and the inside of the dresser and see what we got. Sometimes you don't realize what you're going to find. This was a little sanding sponge. I didn't really need it right now, but I'm continuing to vacuum this out, and I like to number my drawers. Number 1 for the top drawer, 2 for the second drawer, etc. Just because sometimes the drawers don't like to fit in different positions. So if I would get the straight ones mixed up, the ones that aren't curved, and put them in the wrong places, they may not fit right. So I like to make sure they fit right first, and then I number them according to their position. Then I'm going to clean this piece with Farmhouse Pure Power Cleaner. It's from Farmhouse Paint, and it is a cleaner, degreaser, dewaxer, all that stuff that you don't want grinded into your piece and you want your finish and your paint to stick better. So I just like to get that all nice and clean. This was a pretty dirty one, and it had all those stickers on it. So we'll talk about those here in a minute. I clean out every piece of this dresser inside and out with that cleaner. Sometimes I have to switch rags. I had to switch like 3 times because my rag was getting pretty dirty and I didn't want to spread that to other pieces of the furniture. Since I'm pretty well finished taking those drawers in and out, I'm going to remove the hardware. At this point, I hadn't completely decided if I was keeping these top knobs or not. They're very small, and I know that was the style on this piece. It's a Broyhill, but I think I might change those. I need a little bit more to grab onto, I think, when you open that top drawer. But I'm going to keep them and still clean them and see what I think when the piece is all completed. Once I've completed the cleaning with the cleaner, I use my water bottle and just spray clean water and a clean rag, and I spray that piece and rinse off all of that cleaner that I have on any surface that I think might be painted or sanded or anything else. So getting that nice and clean and making sure that it's clean and that cleaner is all removed from the surface. Now notice I didn't clean the insides of the drawers because I'm not painting that part. I will be waxing that with some wood conditioner. Here, I'm going to get rid of Nicole's stickers. Nicole likes to put lots of stickers with her name on them on this piece. And if this were my little one, we'd have a serious talk because I'm really picky about what I put on my furniture. But anyway, they're cute, but I don't think they're going to fit the next style of the person that is going to buy this dresser. So I'm using my painter's tool and I'm scraping all those pieces off, and then I'll have to clean again in those areas to make sure I get all of that sticky mess off of the dresser. I spent quite a bit of time on that. I cleaned it, got all the sticky mess off of it, and then rinsed it really well. And now I'm sanding down the top of the piece. I'm hoping that I can sand all this finish off and then I can be able to stain this piece. I'd like to make it like a dark walnut. And then the body, just paint the body, maybe keep the top drawer stained as well. So I started out with my surf prep, but then I went to my Festool and look at this grain. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. So now I'm going to keep that. I'm going to be staining that first, but I'm going to go ahead and scuff sand the rest of the piece. Scuff sanding is just getting that glossy, shiny surface sanded down so that I can have my paint have something to stick to on the surface, and it will want to stick. It doesn't want to stick to glossy surfaces. So that's why we scuff sand. And it helps me to get rid of all those dings and dents and minor scratches, just minor ones. Okay. The major ones I'm going to have to fill, but I'm trying my hand at sanding off this top drawer because I also would like to stain it. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do that. Here I'm removing the front part of the base because I want to put feet on the bottom instead of this old clunky base. And so I'm just using my painter's tool again and trying to pry that apart and get that top part away from the sides of the piece so that I can, get it off of there. And there it comes. And now I have to figure out what to do with the sides. Well, I actually figured it out off camera. I forgot to turn the camera on. I cut it off with my circular saw on both sides. I measured well from the top of the piece and made sure it was even all the way through. So here I'm going to be adding a piece so that I'll have a surface to screw my legs into. And so I'm just going ahead before I even attach this piece and I'm marking my holes. So I'll have them in the right position when everything's finished and ready to attach the legs. The board wasn't quite tall enough, so we had to put this little piece of plywood on the bottom. I brad nailed that in to the bottom, and then I'm going to lay that other board that you saw me drawing on top of it. So I'm using my Craig Jig pocket hole maker to make a couple pocket holes because I'm going to attach this board onto the bottom of the piece. So now I'm using my cordless drill to just drill some pilot holes so that when I go to attach the foot, I will have nice pilot holes to put the screws in. It'll be much easier. And also I had to make sure my pocket holes were not in the same place as my screw holes, so I put them on either side, if you can see that. So then I have my pocket holes and I'm attaching that to that piece of the dresser that's already attached to the dresser. And see, now I have a nice flat surface there. The edge of the dresser is even with that board that I am installing. On the other side of the dresser, when we attached the pocket hole screws at the top, the board was kind of coming to the left. It was moving, so I got my clamp out and clamped that straight to where it should be, and then I went ahead and screwed in my screws to the bottom. On this side, I screwed them into the bottom because there was no piece to screw them into like the top. So I did a countersink hole, made sure my screw head would fit in there, drilled a pilot hole, and then I screwed my screw in to the bottom of the piece, if that makes sense. And now I'm going to just dry fit this leg because it has a part of the leg comes up on the side. So I want to make sure we have our holes in the right place and everything looks good. So it does. So guess what? I forgot to show you the staining of the top and the top drawer. I don't know what it was with this piece. I kept forgetting to turn the camera on. I get it all focused and then I go get my stuff and then I'd forget to turn it on. But right here, I am top coating it with clear coat from Farmhouse Paint. It is a satin clear coat and I'm doing several coats that will be nice and durable for my dark walnut stained finish. So here I'm using Quickwood. It's a 2-part epoxy putty. You just have to wear gloves and mix it up with your hands, and then I'm putting it in those places. I use Quickwood for those places that are a little bit deeper gashes and things that won't hold wood filler as well. They're deeper scratches, they're deeper gashes, and it just dries really hard and you can sand that nice and smooth. And on these littler dings and dents and cracks and scratches and things, I am using wood filler. So I'm just using my tiny little putty knife and I'm going through and doing some polka dots because there are lots of dings and dents and little tiny scratches. So the Quickwood will have to be sanded with like an 80 or 100 grit sandpaper first. And then the wood filler, I just use a 220 and I actually use it on a little bit lower setting so that it doesn't sand out all of the wood filler out of those shallow dents and dings. So as I was getting started, I just kept sanding on this one part and I realized, I need to just sand the whole thing down because there was a part of that little bar there that the finish was all gone and part of it wasn't, and I didn't want it to look like it was textured or anything after I painted it. So I sanded that whole bar down. Now I'm going through with my 220 and I'm just smoothing out all of those marks where I put the wood filler and making them smooth. Here I'm misting my rag and I'm wiping off all of the dust. You always want to wipe off the dust in between the things that you do to your piece. I've taped off my drawers and now I'm taping off my top. So I'm using frog tape and my Scotch blue tape and plastic, and I'm taping off that top because I'm not going to be painting it. I've already stained it, I've top coated. I want it to be protected very well while I paint. And this is delicate paint. If I'm taping it off on the actual edge of the piece that I've already stained and top coated, I don't want it to stick really well and I don't want it to pull any of that finish off, so I use the delicate purple Scotch tape. So now I am priming. I am using black primer. This is Aqualock from Inselex. It is a black primer. All the things I use on this video I've listed below in the description, so you can find that below. It comes in black and white. I've never really used the white. I think I used it a couple times and I just prefer my other primers for that. But if I'm painting black, or a really dark color, I like to use black primer. Primer promotes adhesion for when you paint. It kind of evens out all of those surfaces so you get a smoother paint job, and it blocks stains and wood tannins. I always recommend it. I prime every piece. So I'm using Farmhouse Evolution paint in bold black. This dries in 1 hour. It goes on so smoothly. It has beautiful coverage. It is durable. You do not need a top coat. It is super durable. It is an acrylic enamel paint. And I have used a lot of black. So you can see that I have a gallon of this ready to go. Now it's going to be pretty boring when I paint black on black here in a minute on my piece. So I'm really not going to show you much of that. And you saw just a minute ago that I do strain my paint. That gets out some of the little imperfections or globs that even when you stir the paint are still there. You saw me use this cardboard probably when I was priming the piece. This just kind of helps me not to get that overspray on the inside of the piece, so I won't get it on the runner or it won't look real sloppy in there. It just helps me to have a more finished look on the piece and doesn't interfere with the sliding of the drawers. After this primer and this coat, I do a second coat on this piece also. I let it dry. I sand very lightly with a 220 to 320 sanding sponge. I wipe it clean with a damp water misted cloth, and then that's when I spray my second coat. So I always do the little light sanding in between my primer and both coats of paint, but not on the final coat. Here I'm using It's the Balm from Farmhouse Paint. It's a conditioner for the wood, a protectant for the wood. It gives it moisture and it just makes the wood come to life. Remember what we talked about on those legs and the little wood that I put there? I painted the bottom of that board that I just had installed a lot earlier, and now I'm installing the legs. So exciting. It was really nerve-wracking because I'm hoping that I cut off those sides evenly and that this piece stands up and doesn't wobble. So here's what we started with, the sticker infested mess, and now here's what I have now. Oh my gosh, so excited how it turned out. I put the new gold knobs on the top. It wasn't wobbly at all, so solid after I got those feet on, and it's just beautiful. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and join me on my restyling adventures next time. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.